Yes. Hello. Thank you for tuning into the Awakening with Shontal Bettis-Brown. Don't forget to share and like on social media, and please subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Please make sure you comment and tell me what you like about today's show. So let's awaken with today's episode. Yes, thank you for tuning in tonight. This is the Awakening. And today I have author Eric Renae Dickerson with me. Hey, Miss Renae, how you doing?
Hello. Fine. How
And
you doing?
I'm good. She just got such a sweet and beautiful spirit. I just love her. First off, how is Mama doing?
She's wonderful.
That's good. That is good. So y'all dealing with this COVID in a good way. Everybody's doing good. The kids doing good. Grandkids. That's good. So I'm gonna start the show with an icebreaker. And my icebreakers are, they fun, but they are they actually deal with the show. So
Okay.
when I say the awakening, what does it mean to you?
Spirituality.
Mm, yes, 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 yes. So during this pandemic, I have been coming across, and God has been sharing different things with me as to when I decided to go forward. My main goal is to awaken certain situations, certain
Mhm.
conversations that we don't discuss, certain things we don't discuss, certain issues we don't discuss. And one of the things that really gets me is that old, back in the day, spirit, that old tale that they say, what goes on in this house stays in this house. I want to break the barriers down on that conversation, on every aspect of it, because I feel like that's why a lot of things are going on in our Black community now, especially with the African American community, because we are lost. We so set in our ways, in a sense, that
Mhm.
we're not realizing the impact that it really does have on us. And so you wrote a book, um, 2019, right? Was it 2019?
18, 19.
18. Yeah, we actually work together too because I'm an author as well with Zoe CCP, Zoe Life CCP. She's a publisher. And we actually got to blended in. We became family.
That
And
was good.
yeah, one of the things when you say blended in, she actually wrote a book. I've been on a subject of, marriages on the previous show. I'm just opening up many different doors, especially on being an unwedded wife, taking back the mothers leading the younger generation. I want to take some stuff back. So you wrote this book, and it blessed me to the core because anybody that knows me, I got married in 2017, and my husband had 9 kids. And so 2 of them was grown, the rest of them are younger, but it was a lot to deal with. And for a second, I was just baffled. I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I knew what I was doing and I knew what I was getting into, but it was the whole dealing with the situation as far as being on one accord. So when I first met you, you had it was your first book, and now you came out with the blended and blind, and I was like, that is so
Mhm.
real, because you really don't know a lot until after you get married, in a sense, but you have to be led strategically by the Holy Spirit to handle each and every situation. Can you give me a little bit a taste of what is this great book about?
Well, actually, when the book first dropped in my spirit to write about it, all started from me watching my son go to a blended family, and God began to reveal to me about the blended family. And it's not only when people think of blended family, they usually think of black and white, two different races coming together. And He was
Mm-hmm.
showing me that it's not a racial thing, because you could be in the same family but yet blind about what's going on. You could be with your mom, your biological mom and dad, and your biological sisters and brothers, still blended and blind, not understanding each other, not understanding what each child needs, So now you're blind to a whole lot of stuff right there in your own home. But then on the flip side of it, when two families come together, that is
Mm.
a whole different ball game.
I
Now
mean, whole
you're
different.
already learning your new mate. You're still learning things about them. Now here come all the kids from another mother or another dad. All these different attitudes got to come together, and you wonder, well, where do I fit in this place? Because I don't want to deal with nobody else's children. Most women are like, I don't want to do this. I take the man or I take the woman, but I don't know what I want to deal with the kids. But there's a place for everybody. We just got to learn our place. We have to handle
Yes.
each child accordingly. And then when there's it's especially hard for mothers because when the mother have to deal with their children going over to the dad and the stepmom house, the mother can always create friction for the family because now they have a little animosity, a little hate on the new wife or the new
Right.
girlfriend or whatever it might be. So that makes the child be in the middle. Now I'm good over here with my mom and I'm good over here with my dad with the new wife. But some children like I can't let my mama know that I'm having a good time with the stepmom.
Right.
So it creates so much friction, blended and blind, because when I say blind, we don't know our position as a parent when it comes to blending a family. We don't know our position as even the mother that got to release the child to the dad. We don't know our position, and we take away so much from the child because we're fighting
Yes.
against one another. Just think if a child got a mother and a father, a stepmom and a stepdad. They have double of what they should have could have had out of one family. Now you got
Hmm.
two complete family if we can come together. But we can't come together. Especially
Yeah.
us as women, we cannot come together. We have this jealous spirit. We got this
Whew.
hatred in our heart for the woman that don't even the woman probably had just came in. You probably was years ago. This man that moved on 20 years ago when he used to hating on this woman and came in his life. So women's have issues with women's, and it's so hard because we make it an issue for our children, and they get so torn apart, get so ripped away, just don't know what to do because it's like being
Hmm.
stuck in the middle. I gotta be
Hmm.
this way for mama, and I gotta be this way when I go to daddy house. Confusing the child. The child not even gonna know who he really is because he gotta act so many different ways.
Yeah. And that's good. And one of the main things that I can speak on behalf of myself um is that there's a theme. My stepdaughter, she made a statement one time. I forgot what was going on, and she was like, y'all, we got to be loyal to mama. We got to be loyal to mama." And I was like, you're not being unloyal. You just really just being real. And so there was a time frame that it was certain things going on, and the Lord put in my spirit not to address certain things with them, around them, period, because
Right.
I actually went to them and I said, do y'all feel like y'all have to choose? And she said, yeah. I said, you never have to choose between parents. You never have to choose at all between parents, period. It
That's
shouldn't
right.
even be to the point where you having to say, well, I love my mama more, but I love my daddy. No, you can love them both equally. And it's a
That's correct.
sad case because one of my rest in peace, Alberta. I'm not trying to put the situation out there for any kind of props or whatever, but prime example, one of my husband's child's mother passed, and we actually had never had a good relationship because one of the things was she didn't want another woman raising her child. It's totally
Mm-hmm.
understandable. And I feel like as black women, as women, period, I would never, I'm a mother, so I would never want another woman trying to take my place. And I try to make sure I get that understood because I'm the helpmate. I'm
That's
not
right.
the mother. I'm just the
That's right.
helpmate. I'm just married to the father. And so, but I'ma treat you just like I would my own child. And I have two kids. So the main thing for me was is to be able to help them, educate them, encourage them in any goals, anything they wanted to do, whatever they wanted to. Be young entrepreneurs, do things in a different way, shed light in different ways. And it was so funny that growing up, I never did get a chance to know my sister. I had another sister on my dad's side that I just met when I was 18, I think. 18
Wow.
or 19, getting ready to move to Texas. And I knew of her, but my mom would never let me go over there. So therefore, because of their history and what they went through, and it was always negative. It wasn't really nothing
Mm-hmm.
positive. It was always negative. So I went looking at my stepmom in a certain way, but when I actually met her, I was like, okay, she ain't that bad. Ain't nothing wrong with her. She just raised her kids in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I could understand why my mom was so skeptical about letting me go over there and letting me do things. But in a sense, it also put a wedge between me and my father because I never had that relationship. It was always give me the child support check, give me some money, and that's it. But then it's like, in a sense, when I look back at it, was I being pimped?
Wow.
And that's how you got to really look at some things. We teach, in this generation, we teach kids know everything.
Oh,
They know
yes.
stuff that goes on between a previous situation that they shouldn't even have no clue of. Why did my
Exactly.
daddy leave you? Or why
Mm-hmm.
did my mama leave you? Or why anything. It's
Right.
we couldn't work out, but we're friends and we're okay and we're gonna support you and we're gonna be there for you, whatever. But it makes it so hard to even get that way now. And that
Mm-hmm.
what bothers me the most because it's all about the child. I would have loved to have two mothers, two fathers, which I do have two fathers because my stepfather, he's wonderful. To this day, him and my mom isn't together, but he had raised me. And I consider him my father.
Right.
But when you blend in families and you it's like you really got to take self out.
Yes.
You have to take self out because see in order for the kids to benefit, in order for the kids to grow and get what they need, you have to be able to take yourself out the equation and wonder, how would I want to be treated, or how would I want my kids to be treated. And like I say, now she's passed, and the daughter is here with me. And my only regret of the whole situation is I wish we was much closer.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I can literally turn back the hand of times and
Mm-hmm.
just get her on the level that I was on. As far as, I'm not trying to take your place. I would never try
Yes,
to take
sir.
your place. But we get so destruct, us women. And like you say, women, I don't know what's going on. I don't understand. It just bothers me. It bothers me. But your book is is very is very good. It's to the point. And I think a lot of people need to realize and open up their door that blending families isn't bad,
That's
but you
right.
got to do it in a godly way.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do it in a godly way. So, what advice can you give to young women now, and especially in the Black community and really all communities, because everybody deals with it? And a lot of people just be like, a lot of women, just give me my child support check. I'm good. Just pay me. I'm good. But the child support check ain't nothing. The kids don't even really care about the check.
That's
They
right.
want the parent.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So
And
it's what can you help from what you have seen being married, and like you say, you have been there before. What experiences can you give to that you can, if you had the chance to say, I wish I could have did this different?
probably the first thing would be trying to build a relationship with that child mother. You know, a lot of women don't like to build a relationship with someone that has the man that they used to have. But I think it's got to get past that because we're talking about raising children now. So if you feeling like I'm not gonna raise your children, I mean, well, I'm not gonna say raise, but help, like you said, because we're the
Mm-hmm.
helpmate. If you feel like I'm not gonna be good and I'm gonna be a negativity to your child, then you should want to learn something about me. You should want
Right.
to learn what kind of person I am, so you can know when you send your child over there that you know, well, I ain't got to worry about this because I know her, I know her personality, I know her intent, you know. But so many times I think women don't want to get that kind of relationship because a lot of them still stuck on the man. So, and a lot of them
Mm.
still hurt from the past relationship, never heal. So if they
Take
can't
that bandage
heal,
off, boo.
they, girl, you better say that. But that's the problem. Although they're in their physical life, they have moved on, but in their spiritual life, in the heart, they still in hurt, they still in pain. They carry that on until another relationship. So here you
Mm-hmm.
are, you're in another relationship and you're bitter. And because you're bitter now, you still gonna be bitter to that ex. You can be bitter to whoever that ex get in contact with, because that's the way out. That's the way we as women, it's
Mm-hmm.
like we have a jealousy spirit when it comes to stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Yep.
reminds me of the story in the Bible about the two women. I can't remember what it was. You know, one could have a baby and another one couldn't. It was like you get frustrated at a certain time when you can't get what you want.
Yeah.
She was getting
Yeah.
frustrated because she couldn't get that baby she wanted. Now, here the maid can have all the babies she wants to have. Well, here I am. I can't. And that's my husband. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes people get jealous of that. And it just, I don't know what it is with women. I really don't. Men's can do that and go on by their business and live a life on thinking of it. But women's, we cannot blend families because we have so much jealousy, malice, and hate towards one another and don't even know them. That's the point. That's the killing part. You don't even know the lady and you're upset with her.
Mm-hmm.
You're mad with her. You never met her. You never talked to her. You don't have no idea anything about her.
Mm-hmm.
Only thing you know is probably what you probably saw on social media and you try to put it together. But you don't
Together.
really
Yeah.
know that person. And you should want to know the person that's going to be looking after your child. Because
Yeah.
the truth of the matter is, when you send the child to the daddy, actually, the stepmama got the child
The
more than the
mom.
daddy do.
Come on.
The
Come on.
daddy don't even have the child. It's the mama who always got the child, taking the child places, doing things with the child. Whether it was a
Mm-hmm.
guy or a girl, most of the time they're with the mother. So I'm like, why can't the mothers just come together? Because you might be saying, well, they going over to their daddy for the weekend. Well, the truth is they with the stepmama.
Mama too. Yeah.
So
That is
we
so
got to
true.
learn how to come together and stop being so um what's a better word for it? Jealous of each other is not
Bitter.
the word I'm looking for, but that's what bitter is
Bitter.
a good word for it. We are some bitter women. And we got to learn that everybody go through hurt, everybody go through pain. Nobody had got a relationship, not too many people start a relationship the first time and it worked out perfectly. Everybody have breakups and divorces and every kind of stuff come towards us. But we got to learn to stay in the will of God, which is our key. When we stay in the will of
Yeah.
God, that love that we're supposed to have, it would just go on over to that lady. You know, it was like, I got that much love for me, so I'm just gonna treat this lady right anyway.
Yeah.
She got my child over there. You know, she doing things with my child. But the flip side of that is I don't want my child to have a good
Mm-hmm.
relationship with her because I don't want her to feel more for her than she feel for me.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to do that anyway unless you're mistreating them. Now, if you're a mother
Yeah.
that's mistreating your children, then of course the child is going to lean more to the step parent if the step parent is a
Yeah.
better parent, you know, because the blood don't make children love parents and parents love children.
Right.
It's the love that you give those children that make them draw closer to you. And once those
Mm-hmm.
child begin to see that love that they're missing from the real mother, of course they're gonna go towards their step parent. But the
Yeah.
real mother gonna be trying to learn something from that instead of hating on that parent.
Yeah, yeah, that is so true. And even with and a lot of parent people fail to realize too, when you dealing with blended families, one thing that um I I was talking to my one of my friends, and she was telling me how, they went through the court order,
Hmm.
and to, she got them on child support, and stuff like that. And I told her, I said, well, he doesn't seem like, it seemed like he's changed.
Mhm.
And when I made that statement, he ain't changed, he ain't did nothing. Just because he was with you dirty, that don't mean that he's still that same person.
That's right.
When you wait on God, like on the last show that I had, we talked about being an unwitting wife. And we talked about the discussion as far as submitting and being with a woman, a man and a woman being together for years. You know, my particular situation was 12 years, and I still deal with the kids to this day because they still like my kids. I love those kids. But in a sense, that's 12 years gone that, not being married, that I was able to give a good impact that they still, love. And kids remember that. And
Oh
to this
yeah.
day, they are grown and they remember that. And I love that about myself because, and for me, it was like, okay, I did what I needed to do to show them
Mhm.
that I love them. And we're
Mhm.
all not perfect.
That's
And
right.
one of the things I had to realize, even with my marriage now, it's two different raisings. And that's one of the
Mhm.
things that we as women have to understand too, that even for men, you got some men out there better too.
Oh
Don't
yeah.
have that man around my child, and that ain't her daddy, and this
Mhm.
whatever. And they don't take the time to actually call the man up and be like, okay, so you're gonna be the man around my kids, so you want to be, take that place. What goals do
Exactly.
you have for my kids? What are your beliefs? What do you have any kids? How's your relationship with your
Mhm.
kids and your kids'
That's
mother?
right.
You have to sit around, and one of the goals that I just pray for everybody that goes through blended families and merging families is that you be able to pray together.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a situation where the wife, was it the wife, the husband, the ex-husband, the new wife, everybody was going to the same church. And everybody thought
Mhm.
that was so stupid, but I crazy. But I found some excitement to that. I was like, that's
Right.
good.
Mhm.
That is good because you set in a tone that it's okay. And
Yeah.
especially during this COVID, by COVID being out and by all the life is changing. Life is changing,
Right.
things are changing. Everything ain't gonna be like it used to be. And so
Right.
by it being not like it used to be, it's something. Back in the days, mothers and men used to step out. You got 10 kids here, you got 9 over here, that you don't even know till you're really grown.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
all that has a lot to play with it because it's not the child fault what the
That's
parents
right.
do.
That's
So
right.
it's just so much. And but I like to see that that is something that happens in the near future that would break the chains off of what's been happening in the past, so these kids
Exactly.
can see and have their respect. That's why a lot of kids don't have respect for people because the parents don't have respect for each other. I used to have to tell my husband, don't call the mama out her name. Don't, do call her crazy or don't call her dumb. Don't do that because
That's
you're
right.
setting a tone.
That's
You
right.
setting a tone for him or the son or the daughter to think, okay,
Mhm.
he talking about mom. Don't do it because you don't want to set that. You don't want to build that foundation of that. Always
That's
be
right.
positive. And even when we pray, I pray for my kid. I pray for my kids' mothers. I make
Mhm.
sure I pray for them. Even if we don't talk, they don't like me, I
That's
still keep
right.
them prayed up
Mhm.
because that's what you're supposed to do, and that's
Mhm.
what is needed. So
Exactly.
it's it is, and like we said, taking that healing from the situation. You got to
Oh
heal
yeah.
from it, and especially when you got kids, it's not like you know, some people don't want to heal. I look at that too. Some women don't want to heal from it. Some men don't want to heal from the
Right.
relationship. But it's needed and it's necessary for that to take place in order for it to be the environment that is needed in this
That's
in
right.
this season. Because you got interracial couples now.
That's right.
You got it coming out where people here in Mississippi back in the day, I would have never thought I would have seen an interracial couple. But now look at it.
Right,
He's a God of different levels. So help us
right.
break down the chain of command. Because some people don't understand the chain of command in a godly sense of how God breaks things down. I'm gonna let you, minister, break that one down.
But when we talk about interracial relationship, when we talk about bringing different cultures together, I try not to label it as a black or white, but bringing cultures together. The thing about that is, once you bring cultures together, when I look back in the Bible days and cultures was coming together into marriage, there was so much that had to be learned. You know what I'm saying? That culture got to learn what's going on in this culture. And the thing about that is, once you begin to be in a different culture and in marriage, you got to learn how to fight different. When I say fight, I don't mean physically fighting. I
Mm,
mean like
that's good.
disagreement or whatever. Because I have watched this happen, in my own family. And when they get mad, the racial sides come out. So it's
Right.
important that you get in a place with God that won't come out. Because, well, they said, the Bible said what's in you come out of you. So
Now
so
they, yeah.
maybe that is what's still on the inside of you. Then my thoughts be, how in the world can you marry somebody or love somebody, but deep down inside still on the inside of you? You know,
Yes,
when you
yes.
if you was black married to a black and you get married with each other, you ain't gonna call your husband a white man because he ain't no white man. He a black man. So
Yeah.
why, if you in a different culture, do we do that? Do we go telling them what they is? You black, or you this, or you white? Why do we do that? But when God sees us, he don't see a black man.
It's a
He don't
color.
see a white
No
man.
color.
He don't see a Chinese. Look, what he see is in the midst of that foolishness, what he see is sin. Because now we get
Yes.
ourselves in a place really being in sin. Because when you're not showing the love of God, I don't care who you are, what the situation is, when you're not showing the love of God, God is not pleased with that. When he look at
Mm-hmm.
us, he want to see himself. But himself ain't
Yes.
gonna say you black or you white or you no good or all this stuff that we call, especially women call men. We can think of some
Yeah.
stuff to think about men. They
Man.
ain't no good, deadbeat dad or deadbeat
Yeah.
husband. And I'm like, they the same person you laid down with 5 years ago when you
Come
got
on.
this baby. So why are you now disgrading each other? I mean, you know you might not can get along, but that don't change. My mom always said, if he's a dog, will you lay down with the dog?
Live down with them.
So what that make you?
The fleas.
And
The
so
fleas.
we really had to. I mean, women has it real bad. A man can make friends with a man so easily, even when, hey,
Yeah.
now you got her now, but we still good. We
Yeah.
still good. But women's, we can't do that. And
Mm-mm.
God has fixed us to be passionate, compassionate, and nurturing. That's what women's supposed to be. If we have so much nurturing and love in us, we ought to be able to get along. If me and you, Shonda, had to have been with the same man before, and there's children was on one side or the other, we should be able to have a decent
Yes.
conversation. We don't have to
Yeah.
buddy. We don't have to run together,
Right.
but we should have a way of communicating about the children, even if nothing else, about the children. And
Yeah.
to bring back this pastor, first lady here in Starksville, and she told her story about her and her husband when they got together, and how the mother of the child, how they were, just bickering and hated each other and everything. And she said, just like you, she said, I prayed every day for her. No
Mm-hmm.
matter how she treated me, I prayed every day. And I'm talking about within 2 or 3 years, they were good friends. They was doing a show together. They was coming together for the
That's
sake
good.
of their child. And I'm like, what happened to that? Why people can't do that? But there was a wall
Mm-hmm.
so big built up because she was married with the man. Get over it. Whatever he
Yeah.
did, get over it. Because the life is
Yeah.
not about us when we get children. Life is about our children. And if we raise them in a toxic environment, they can begin to be toxic adults. Then we wonder why they
Yes.
doing this. We taught them how to do this. We taught them how to be
Yes.
toxic. They heard me call their daddy crazy. He was a deadbeat dad.
Mm-hmm.
They heard all of that. So now they
Yeah.
are going
Yeah.
in. Some of those people, that's the generation of curses that we have, especially with men,
Mm-hmm.
that curse is going on and on and on because we
Yeah.
try to atone for that. Because we just can't be blended. We can't be blended.
Yeah.
We
It's
dare
not that
not
we
to do
can't.
it.
And but you know what? One of the things that in one of the previous shows I was interviewing Shakita.
Hmm.
Shakita was telling me she dropped a nugget and it's stuck with me. She said
Hmm.
it's not so much as generational curses, it's generational choices.
Exactly.
You have a choice. Just because that's what you know, just because what your mama did, just because what this person did, just because that's how it's always been shown to you, doesn't make it right.
That's right.
And you can break it, and we can break it. I
That's
love
right.
in a book, you one of the good uh blended examples that you had said in the beginning of the book, you said Jesus was somewhat like many families. He came from a blended family. His father is God and his mom is Mary. And I was like, I never thought of it like that.
Hmm.
I never looked at it like that. Joseph was not his biological father. His siblings were not born of the same father, but God didn't deny them the rights of calling him daddy.
Hmm.
That in itself spoke so much volume to me. And I'm telling y'all, I done read this book 2 or 3 times. And that stood out to me as I started to read it because it's been going on from the beginning of time.
Exactly.
And we just not even seeing it. We're not
Exactly.
even seeing it. We're not even acknowledging none of it. We just going off of what we used to or what
Exactly.
happened or what goes on or stuff like that. So I'm grateful and I hope that the book is still on. It's still out there, honey. And it's
Hmm.
still able for you to get. And she has a few more if you want to drop the nuggets to your topics, to your previous books and the book you got out now, honey, you can.
Well, the first book was My Silent Cry. But all of my books about testimony are things that I've been through in life. So they are my story. But the first book is My Silent Cry, talking about what was on the inside of me and how I felt like I was a black sheep of the family. And for years, I was like locked up within myself. And I was like in my 40s before I realized that God loved me for who I were. And I didn't have to act
Mm,
like I was nobody because God had a place and a plan for my life. And it took me forever to get to
yes.
that point. And the last book was Can You Live with the Scars? You know, we women,
Woo!
let's just go back to what we're talking about with blended family. We don't forgive, we don't forget, you know. Can we live with the scars of frustration, the scars of pain, whatever your scar might be, can you live with it? And the answer to that
Mm,
is yes, you can live with it. Because if you got the God on your side, who is our healer, who is our deliverer, you know, you can do anything because the Bible tells us I can do all things through Christ Jesus who strengthened me. Therefore, that means
yes,
I can
yes.
live with the scars. And when we live with the scars, the first thing we must do is forgive. Now, if we don't forgive,
Yeah.
we can't live with the scars because we'll be in bondage for so long. So forgiveness is actually a big
Ooh.
part of our life, a big part of everything we
Yes.
do. We don't forgive the ex-husband for hurting us so he can feel better. We forgive him for hurting us so we can feel better. So it's about your
Yes.
growth, not about his growth. Whether he ever changed or not, we gotta forgive. You know, we gotta love. We gotta show that compassion for people, and we gotta show other women that they can get through this. You know, that's so important of
Yes.
telling your testimony, so the next person can
Yes.
know that if God did it for you, He'll do it for me too.
He can do it for me. Yes. 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 And when I tell y'all we be in sync on these books, me and Miss Renee have been in sync. Because either I'm going through it or feeling it and she write it and I'm end up like, oh Lord, that there she go again. because it's truth, and we need that. And that's why they have the angry black women. I don't think it's angry black women. I think it's hurt black women. I think it's more so
Exactly.
is hurt. You, if you don't know how, like you said, if you don't know how to deal with the hurt, if you don't know how to forgive, you'll always carry that burden. And you
Exactly.
got to take that bandage off. You got to remove those bandages. You got to heal. One of the things too that I suggested is have a sit down meeting around a
Hmm.
table. I have been to the point where I done told my husband, okay, let's have a sit down meeting. Let's go around the table. Let's just have a sit down, and talk. But we all have to get in a place. You know,
That's right.
there's nothing wrong with it. Don't think you crazy. Don't worry about what poo poo think, or Nene and nobody else think of how the situation plays out. Just worry
That's
about the
right.
well being of the child. And
That's
so
right.
I just want to thank you, Miss Renae, for being available for me. And once again, this is the awakening. And I pray that this message not only helps someone, but also helps them have that conversation, have that open discussion, because it's not going to do anything to hurt. If
That's right.
anything, it's going to heal and be able to understand one another and open up a dialogue. Be able to talk. It's one thing when you talk, but you also have to listen and feel where the next person is coming from. That's
That's
it.
right.
So thank you for tuning in. I love y'all. Have a blessed night. Thank you, Miss Renae.
Thank you for the opportunity.